Hi guys and welcome back here to the Dev Realm, and today we're going to be carrying on our the Darkest Dungeons clone kind of thing that we're doing. So what we did in last episode is that we did this movements with the cards and everything looks really smooth, right? Of course there's this bug here sometimes that this happen, but we can ignore that for a second, right? So what we can do here today is that we want to make the drag and drop operation from this to a place that we want to drop. All right. So what we're going to do is that I don't need these parts. We're going to delete this. I think this is quite cool. Although, what I would like to do here is I could do like some do once, and you do complete. To be honest, I'm not going to do this right now. I'm just going to leave it. I just want to focus on doing the card first. So first thing we need to think about is that when you drag and drop something out of the widget, right? So you need to basically create this let's say task that on drag and drop we do certain things, right? So first thing we need to do is that override, and we have here on drag start. So I think we have here on drag detect, drag enter, and drag leave. And then we also have on drop. But the drop, it's going to be done on a different place. So what we're going to do is that on drag detect. So when we detect, get, I think it's called key. Have a look, key, make array. Let me just consult the Unreal Engine. So Unreal Engine on drag detect, because I always forget how does that work. It's very simple though. So here we do that, create a class. I don't want to use a drag and drop operation, just want to use that on mouse button down. So mouse button down. Okay, there we go. So the first thing we need to do that I always get my head complete like mistaken here is this, right? So we need to do on mouse button down, and I do recommend you guys checking the documentation every time you're trying to do something like this. Really simple, but anyway, so we are just going to delete this. Let's just override the one we need. So on mouse button down. All right, now according to the documentation we just need to get the screen space position and the absolute local. So we do ABS local, and is that coordinates, absolute to local, geometry and local coordinates, okay? And now we need to get screen space position. So get screen space position. Then we can just plug this here. This basically will return me where is my mouse at, right? Now the next thing we need to do is that we need to set the drag offset. So we're going to promote to a variable, okay? So we're going to promote to a variable called drag offset, right? So we're going to drag this and put it right there. Perfect. There's another thing we have to do, which is that detect drag if pressed yes. So that's what we need to do. We need to look for this one. Detect drag if pressed. Perfect. Now I'm just gonna create this to make everything looks nice, and the key is gonna be left mouse button, as same as is here. So we do it there, and we can plug this one right here, right? And I think that's it. So compile and save, usual. And I think right now if I do it, it doesn't do anything because we're not telling to handle this for us. Now that's the next step, is that we need to do on drag detect. So what we're gonna do is we do on drag detect. Perfect. Now I think I could just do a print here. Let's just double check. Does it happen? Oh yes, it detects. Perfect. Now according to this, we need to create a widget that is our drag widget, right? On this case, what I'm gonna do is that I am just gonna create a flag saying is dragging. Okay, I gotta make sure this is true. by default, sorry, is false. My bad. And now on the mouse button, I'm just gonna create here a branch, okay? And if is dragging to is false, then you can do that. That's fine. But if it's not, we're just gonna return handle. All right? Or actually, on this case, yeah, handle. Handle is fine. Because we don't want to drag this. So for example, now if I turn this flag to on, this is not gonna work. Okay, so if I press here, see, it's not working because we disable that. So if I make this false, now it works perfectly. Now, make sure that you expose this on spawn, yeah? I'm gonna explain why we're gonna do this right now. So right now we need this because if you follow here the documentation, he explains that script on the drag function, blah, 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 we need to create a drag widget, right? On this case, I want to create the card that I'm dragging. I want to give the user the impression that he's dragging that card, right? So we're gonna basically create a drag and drop operation. Yeah, this is the other part. Sorry, I always get confused. So we're gonna create a widget. On this case, the widget class, you can be clever. You can do something like self, okay, and you can get the class, right? You could do something like that. That would work. That's the same as just selecting the class. But on this case, you enable is dragging as true. There's more information we need to add here, such as like cards information, but right now let's just focus on the simple stuff, right? So here now what we're gonna do is that we're gonna promote to a variable. I think we need to promote this to a variable. I don't think we need to do that. Let me just double check why does it do this. I mean, I will just leave this the way it is, all right? But anyway, so the next thing we need to do here is that we need to create a drag and drop operation, right? Create a widget drag. So what we're going to do is create a drag and drop operation. Now the drag and drop operation, we don't need to pass anything. We can just pass the drag visual. On this case, we can pass the payload as well. And top, this one is going to be maybe, we can leave the way it is, right? We don't need to pass any tag to that. And I can just do this, right? And I think it's enough to finish this for us. You see? That works really, really well. And that's it, guys. That's everything I wanted to show in this part of the tutorial. I'm trying to make this approach where we do things a little bit slow. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed. And in the next one, we're going to do the drop part. So make sure you understand how this works. You know, very simple stuff. It's not complicated at all. It's just, you know, it's just what we call boilerplating. It's just that you have to follow those rules that Unreal Engine provide. And then in here, just handle the widget. And we're using self. Understand why you're creating this variable. Because, for example, if this is true, you know, we may cause some problems as we're dragging and dropping stuff. So make sure this is false, right? And as well, you can even do something where you can even disable the animations. Although the animations looks like they're not being a problem, so we're not going to touch them. And in the next one, we're going to focus on the drop area. Hope you guys enjoy it, and I see you in the next one.